Now, as tributes continue to pour in, we now speak to Eskom Board Chair Mteto Nyati, who joins us live now. Mr. Nyati, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. Of course, the statement by Eskom being released earlier on, but let's just get to your reaction to the passing of former Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan.
Thank you so much, Bongi, for having us. As the board of Eskom, we're really feeling sad about the news that we had this morning, because Pravin has been one of those people that have been quite supportive of the turnaround efforts that we have been doing in Eskom. He's one of those people that have fought, and not many people understand how much he has actively been supporting what we are doing in Eskom. And really for us, it's one of those people that we feel that we need to continue to do the work and make sure that his vision is seen through the work that we do. And of course, as the board, he, as you say, he was backing a lot of the, of the turnaround strategies you're putting in place, also offering strategic guidance, as your statement said earlier on. But let's talk about, at a personal level, some of the interactions you would have had with him. Yeah, he is one of those people that since me joining the board, he was close to me because I was responsible for chairing the committee that was overseeing the power station. So we ended up having almost, weekly or daily interactions. And what I found from him is that he listened. And he wanted to understand what was going on, and he's somebody that truly want to understand the detail, and that's what we were able to provide with him. And once we provided that level of detail, he was able to provide us or give us the space for us to operate. And what we also chose to do is to make sure that as we're interacting with him, we share when we ask for help. These are the 4 or 5 things that we would like you to do for us. And for sure, he will be able to come back and deliver on those commitments that he made to us. I found him somebody that was quite respectful in the way we were interacting, a good listener, but somebody that has got a very, very strong bias for action.
And when it comes to, his legacy at the power utility, especially when you look at the work that lies ahead now, what would you say that is?
His legacy, I would say, is really 2 things within Eskom. If you look at this board, the board itself was put together by him. And he was wise enough to identify people that have the capabilities to tackle the challenges that we're facing Eskom. So that's the first thing. And his legacy would be, when we think about the end of load shedding in the future, you need to be thinking about this man, because he's the man that put together the people that now are enabling and are driving the efforts to get rid of load shedding. The second piece is that he was passionate about ending and getting rid of corruption within Eskom. And so as we execute and drive consequence management within Eskom and get rid of the corruption within Eskom and leave behind an organization that is ethical, that would be the other piece that I would say would be his legacy within this organization. 1, a high-performing organization, Eskom. Secondly, an Eskom that is ethical. And thirdly, an Eskom that is relevant for the future. Those will be the things I will say would be his legacy as we think about him within the Eskom environment.
And I'm sure you've seen that his passing has drawn some mixed reaction as well. I mean, looking at what in some instances has been said on social media, but there's also, of course, the economic freedom fighters who are accusing him of, and I quote, selling out our nation's assets to private interests, leaving workers and families to suffer. His greed fueled the collapse of Eskom, SAA, Transnet and Denel, plunging the country into crisis. I wonder, what are your thoughts when you hear this?
We cannot relate to any of that, honestly. This is not our experience of the man. Each and every interaction that we have had with him, he was very clear about how we need to be protecting the assets of this country and making sure that we look after them for the benefit of South Africans, making sure that people do not use the resources in the wrong way, and making sure that we have entities that do not detach themselves from the masses of the people of South Africa. This elitist approach that people continue to talk about, I just cannot connect with it, because he wanted and he continues to want these entities to serve South Africans, in particular the poorest of the poor. So as we're driving Eskom now, we look at our drive being restored, the energy security for South Africa, but our next phase, our next battle within Eskom is that one, and he continued to focus on this. We need to drive energy affordability. And he was doing this and is pushing us to do this for the benefit of the majority of South Africans. So what I'm hearing and what I've experienced, there's no alignment at all. The Pravin that I know is a Pravin that cares deeply about South Africans and about the future of this country.
Let me thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Appreciate it. That was the Eskom Board Chair, Mr. Mteto Nyati.